This time last night, any thought of a ceasefire looked positively Panglossian. Israel was still amassing troops. Lebanese cabinet had postponed its meeting indefinitely, yet miraculously from this fragile beginning, the peace has held enough today to let the first refugees start to return home. At the beginning of the conflict, Israel swore it would push Hezbollah back to the Litani River, 20 miles north of its border. Paul Martin made it into Nabatea, the heavily bombed Hezbollah stronghold in southern Lebanon. He watched the day's events from there in this video diary.
Just under an hour to go before the official ceasefire, the city of Nabatea, which we can see in front of us, almost eerily silent. Just one ambulance went past a few seconds ago. It's a city long since deserted by most of the population, a stronghold for Hezbollah and a major target for Israel. Inside this building, the first evidence you come across is simply a charitable institution, two hands cupped together. But that charitable institution is run by Hezbollah, and flags of Hezbollah abound inside this building. It may have been the last building to be destroyed by Israel at 2 a.m., just before the ceasefire. However, we're just hearing, as people drove past us, that there's been another attack somewhere in the city of Nabatea. Lives are still being lost even after the ceasefire. This little device was dropped well before the ceasefire, but a child was playing with it this morning when it exploded, killing the child, 5 years old, and injuring 3 others. Now there's a way to get back into Nabatea, which had been virtually cut off after the Zahrani bridge was bombed by the Israelis only a week ago. Around me, silence at least from the air, and quite a lot of noise on the ground as cars are starting to drive around again. Trucks, lorries, people shouting, "May Allah be praised," and waving to you. Things are different. Just a day ago, I would never have walked around this area without wearing this flak jacket. Now, I can walk around without any encumbrance. It doesn't mean that peace is here forever, but it certainly is here today, and the people of Lebanon are breathing a huge collective sigh of relief. How long it'll last, that's anyone's guess.
Well, can that ceasefire hold? Hezbollah's leaders claiming strategic historic victory today. The Israeli government says it believes it has come out OK. Sumit Bhatia now on whether a truce with such tender beginnings can actually be sustained.
This is how peace began. The big question is, how long will it last? Right up to the time agreed for cessation, the shells poured in over northern Israel and southern Lebanon, just as it had done for a month.
The strongest army in the world will not be able to take the arms of Hezbollah.
These people will not get off free. They will not get off free. We will continue to pursue them everywhere and any time.
The peace is fragile and now needs careful choreography to stay in place. At the moment, there are 30,000 Israeli troops and nearly 2,000 United Nations troops in South Lebanon. The plan is to establish a demilitarized zone with 15,000 troops from the Lebanese army and 15,000 UN troops. There have been no concrete offers yet for that force, but it'll probably be largely drawn from France, Italy and Poland. But achieving all that won't be easy. Prime Minister Ehud Olmert's having a hard time persuading politicians that the UN deal is a good one. The last month has been slow and painful progress against Hezbollah, and Mr. Olmert's own people aren't sure that peace will hold even for a few days.
We don't believe in this stopping event because we don't believe in Nasrallah and we don't believe in Hezbollah and we don't believe they will stop firing at us. And that's why we are living for a few days to see if it's going on or if it will stop for sure.
This war effectively started when Hezbollah kidnapped 2 Israeli soldiers. They've still not been rescued, which leaves Israel using tough talk.
There is no restraint if somebody attacks us. Our task and obligation is to protect the people, our people. And when we started this campaign, we just discovered really against whom we were standing. We were standing not only against some kind of guerrilla group, of people, but against army of terror, which, in matter of fact, hold the Lebanese government in the throat, and as well create a threat, very serious threat, over all the northern part of Israel.
Today we emerge from the battle with our heads high, and our enemy is the one who is defeated, and who is now confused in his weakness.
So, not much concession from Hezbollah today either. And that means the onus is effectively on the Lebanese government to coax them through the peace process. At the moment, it's not sure it can.
There are conditions. If they are not implemented, and if Hezbollah continue not to be wanting to give back his armaments to the Lebanese army, if the Hezbollah does not want the Lebanese army to deploy little by little in a demilitarized area, the ceasefire will not last.
For the peace to last then, the United Nations force is needed on the ground as soon as possible. That would allow Israeli troops to retreat and ease tensions in Lebanon. So far, though, progress appears slow.
This is a dangerous area, and unless we have full compliance by both sides, that is a cessation of hostilities and a more permanent ceasefire down the line, it's going to be even more difficult than usual to raise troops from the international community.
There's talk now it could take at least 2 weeks for a sizable UN force to be in South Lebanon, testing the level of patience of both the Israeli government and Hezbollah. But if peace can hold, Israel is now talking of longer-term solutions.
We need to create a peace situation between Israel and Lebanon. And I'm suggesting to the Lebanese government not to be satisfied only with ceasefire, but let's make another step ahead. Let's make peace. We have no reason to be in war with Lebanon, as well as we've done peace with Egypt, with Jordan. I think time had come, if they control the Hezbollah, to come to peace.
Lebanese families set off en masse today to return to their homes in the south, hoping that they'd still be intact. It was a day when people on both sides dared to think the war could be over, but mindful of the fact that long-lasting peace may still be some way off.
Suman Bhatia, well, let's cross to James Reynolds, our Middle East correspondent in Haifa. James, as we saw there, the Israeli Prime Minister heckled this afternoon by his own parliament. How damaged is he domestically?
He's pretty bad at the moment because Ehud Olmert promised last month, and he's not yet delivered. He promised to destroy Hezbollah and to return Israel's captured soldiers. Neither of those things has happened on the battlefield, so now Ehud Olmert has to look to see if he can achieve that via diplomacy and via the United Nations resolution. He's put all his faith in that, and really the entire campaign of Israel and of Ehud Olmert now rests on a full implementation of that resolution, which calls on Hezbollah to back down and disarm. If that resolution crumbles, there's really not much hope for Ehud Olmert picking up the pieces of his administration at this stage.
And meanwhile, we hear that Ariel Sharon is in a worse condition since that coma began back in January. Is there any news you can give us there?
Yes, we've heard from the medical centre which is caring for him that he has now suffered pneumonia in both lungs. No one at the moment is really talking about any more recovery for Ariel Sharon. And really right now at the moment, the unfinished strands of Ariel Sharon's life are coming together because he tried to pioneer the idea of unilateral withdrawal from Gaza. He was hoping to do it in the West Bank, but that idea may be scuppered by the enemy he helped to create in 1982, Hezbollah. The policy that Ariel Sharon tried to pioneer may be cancelled out by the enemy he helped to create. That really may be the political legacy at this particular moment of the man who is still in a coma after 8 months.